first Saturday of the month. Once again, they got the blowhorns going. They're like, ah, look out, they're coming. Is this a test? Is this only a test? Is this a test of the emergency broadcast system? Or is everybody gone ape shit? Look at that, first Sunday of the month. We get to take out the war book. Look, I told you the one day. This represents this. This represents this. This is a lack of order. This is... See, this was my basic training yearbook. That'll come out another day. But this is my war book. They made a damn little high school yearbook out of Desert Shield and Desert Storm, August 90 to April 91. And I was there that entire time. Oh. I was there the entire time. Woke me up at 2:30 in the morning on August 7th. Said, get your rifle. They're running down the hall, and I said, why? What the hell are you waking me up for? I'm screaming, what? And he said, get your rifle. I said, why? He said, you're going to Kuwait. Nobody else got woke up. I think they just wanted me out of there. I thought that was a fine way for them to get me away from these people in my last year. I had too much influence, as it turns out. Influence. Look at that. That's the one guy from our unit that died over there. I seem to remember him. Patterson. He was a specialist when he died. He's got a PFC, see, that's how you know when you see me wearing my uniform that it's real. He's wearing the same uniform. But he's only got an E3, enlisted member, 3rd grade, on his shoulder, but he's gone. Oh, look at that. There's a picture of Major General Johnson. He was a lieutenant, no. Brigadier General. Most of the time that I was there, and then he ended up being the guy that was in charge of the 82nd after Major General Carl Steiner left the title. And it was that guy. The one time we got a 4-day weekend in Kentucky because we were jumping into the Louisville airport for the 82nd Airborne Convention, Division Convention. And you got all these guys that were glider pilots and everything else, all these old dudes from World War II. We jumped into the airport. That's pretty cool. They gave us knee pads and elbow pads. But we come blowing in, and I just moved to where the grass was. I didn't land on the damn airport. There was grass between it all. Fucking jump off a 2-story house onto a pile of asphalt, tarmac. That's what they say it's like jumping out of landing at that point in time when I was in, it was like jumping off a 2-story house. And that's why I've got no problem jumping off a 3-story house and running from the cops and getting away, because I was trained for it. But we were at the 82nd Airborne Division Convention, and I was like 18, maybe 19. And it was dudes that were in World War II that were running the open bar. And I'd go up there and I was like, you don't need to see my ID. And they said, if you're a paratrooper, you're old enough to drink. And so we had a pyramid on our table. It was a pretty loaded thing. And there were buses coming at the end of the night. And I came staggering. It's time the last bus is coming. Like, ah. And I ran into Lieutenant Cousins and his wife, who was Captain Cousins in another unit in our division. But his wife was always very sweet. And I stopped to talk to Lieutenant Cousins and the wife. And I'm like, ha. And there was this old man standing there. And I looked at him and I said, I thought he was a World War II vet. I said, I recognize you. And I was shaking his hand. I was like, hey, old man. And I was looking, I'm going, I recognize you. I said, you're General Johnson. Because I would pass him in the halls all the time up at division headquarters. And he says, you seem to know me, son. He said, what's your name? And Lieutenant Cousins right there in front of him says, don't tell him, Quist. And I said, I don't think I should tell you that. But it was good seeing you. And I turned around, and that's the last I remember of the night. Next thing I know, I woke up in the school that they were holding us up in with cheerleading practice going on. We're all on cots between lockers and everything, and cheerleaders are over there. And there was one dude, I looked over, and these poor cheerleaders are walking through the aisles trying to go to their practice, and you got a bunch of fucking paratroopers. One guy had his boxer shorts, and his nut was hanging out, and he reached down as this girl was going by, and he just fucking rubbed it. He's sleeping. I'm like, these poor girls. As it turns out, I was found on the lawn the night before by somebody got off the last bus. I don't even know how I got back to the school. But that's the old man I ran into. See, this is our war book. This is the guy that wouldn't let us bring spoils of war home. And, you know, it was so bad that I couldn't get my landmine that I collected back. They wouldn't let me carry it. It was my mistake for bringing it up. But there were 55-gallon drums outside. They said before you walk in to go through customs on the way home that if you had something that wouldn't pass customs, you could throw it in there and nobody would ask. And the story, as I hear, they found an arm in one of those bins. Like an arm. Ha ha. I'm like, what are you going to do? Back scratcher? Maybe if you had two of them, you could make a gun rack. But, you know, what the hell? So this guy wouldn't let us bring stuff back. I turned 21 in the desert, living life inside a hole. You know, you gotta let me have something. But, oh, look at that. Colonel Strock. And, there's Major Temple, who became Lieutenant General Temple. He was in charge of the Corps of Engineers of all of America. He was my man when I was over there. I took him around. We had good times. And, well, oh, there he is. Where is he? I guess Zolka isn't in there. Shaka. Either way, this is a book. It's got all kinds of stories and pictures and... Oh, look. There's First Sergeant Doring. Hey, Kapinski, do push-ups. Elderquist, whatever your name is. Captain Gavlin. We're about to meet him in a minute. That's Captain Gavlin. He's getting a ranger nap in. And, yeah, there are pictures of people and things. There's a picture of Scomp right there in the middle. That's Scomp. Dickie. Oh, that's Sergeant Werner. Sorry. But there are all these pictures of things. Oh, look. there's a picture of me. You see the one that looks tall there? I had sent that back to my dad. We were with a French helicopter pilot there. And I'd sent pictures back to my dad. There's Soto taking a crap. But my dad showed it to people at work. And they were like, geez, how tall is your son? Is he 6'6"? And my dad's like, well, no. It just happens to be that the French guy and Major Temple and Sergeant Miller, Staff Sergeant Miller, they were all just like between 5'4" and 5'6", so it makes me look very tall. I had tried to get a picture, dead people picture in there. They asked us for pictures, and after I turned in a couple of mine, Captain Gavlin said that these people have families. He was giving them back to me. They wouldn't put it in the book. He said, these people have families. And I looked and I said, yes. I said, if you look closely right there in that truck driving behind us, you can see his brother looking down. There was a guy in the back of the truck while we were taking pictures with dead people. And he just, he realized he couldn't get through to me the way he wanted to. But look, still, there's another picture in there with a dead person that says, mess with the best, die like the rest. I don't know how my picture couldn't make it. I just don't know. And so that was Captain Gavlin. I mean, I felt like mine were a little bit more personable. Like that one up there, it's a Christmas card I made it into, and it says, goodwill toward men begins with friends, and I'm with a bunch of friends. They're all dead, but goodwill, Merry Christmas, Happy Easter. But that's where we're getting to with all this, is that in this book I have pictures, and there was Captain Gavlin. You saw him. You saw him. And they tried to change me so much. Oh, look, there's that. There are the letters I got from the Office of the Special Assistant for Gulf War Illnesses. I got those, and they say, are you suffering any kind of, And I refused to answer. And then one of my professors at San Jose State University, one of my psychology therapy classes, she was part of some kind of she was on the national committee for that. And she found out, she asked people, and she found out that I'd been in the Gulf. And she said, well, did you answer it? And I said, no. She said, you have to answer it. And I said, well, you know what? If I answer that, that means in 30 years from now, when I start exhibiting symptoms that are directly related to this, you can just say, this is not a pre-existing condition. This has nothing to do with it. But I was in areas of chemical stuff. I feel fine. But I'm not going to tell you I feel fine, because at any moment it could go to shit. Who knows how deep this stuff gets. And if I'm lying in the ditch somewhere, I would appreciate you bringing me a sandwich. And if I tell you now that I exhibit no symptoms, you can just say, that fucker's faking it, he doesn't deserve any sandwich. Why doesn't he get his last job to get him a sandwich, you know? I might need it someday. You gotta keep your options open. But they were always trying to change me. These people were always trying to change me, this military of theirs. And here it is. Right after we got back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, During that time we were there doing nothing, I had time to pull out my PMCS manual for the Humvee, and they had a thing in the back that you could write a suggestion for, and you could mail it, just fold it over and mail it. And it was free mail at the time, so I went ahead and I did it finally after all those years. And this letter comes from the Department of the Army. It might say Detroit. I don't know. Yeah. To the headquarters, Company 307th Engineer Battalion. To me. Attention, to me. This was after we got back. And I went down to the mail room, and I was standing by the CQ desk reading my stuff, and I opened it, I said, what the hell is this? Got something from the Department of the Army. May 31st, 91. IETS, July 14th of 91, so. Wow. And I did terminal leave starting June 14th, so this was 2 weeks before I got out that this thing has that message on it. It was right at the end. And look, something wrong? Anybody that was in the military that drove a vehicle, they know that's in the back of their preventive maintenance checks and services guide that you can suggest a change. And look, that's my handwriting. That's my cursive. And it says, then jot the dope about it on this form. Carefully tear it out, fold it, and drop in the mail. And that's got a pretty cartoon picture of a woman on it. And it says from where, and I put the unit's complete address. Date sent was 16 March 91. That's in my handwriting. So 16 March. It took like a month and a half for them to answer. And it's got page numbers on it, item numbers, items 9 and 10, page numbers 2-37, 2-38, table number 2-2, and I write, remember Captain Gavilan, the change that I feel should be performed refers to the order of PMCS. In my unit, my company commander insists that we follow the order the PMCS is outlined in the current manual. The problem arises when reaching item numbers 9, transmission fluid level, and 10, cooling system. Item 9 has a note that reads, transmission must be at normal operating temperature before checking level. This is fine, but the normal operation temperature of a high mobility multi-wheeled vehicle, HMMWV Hummer, it's named, given that little Hummer nickname because of the sound of the tires, wheels on the road, woo, it hums. But it was an HMMWV, high mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicle. So the normal operation temperature of a high mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicle ranges from approximately 160 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And when your manual following soldier completes item number 9, he moves on to item number 10, which reads, warning, extreme care should be taken when removing surge tank filler cap if temperature gauge reads above 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius. This causes a delay in the already tedious procedure of PMCS, since the soldier has to wait for the engine temperature to cool down to a safe degree in order to avoid I guess it must have been being burned. That's the letter I wrote on this thing. They sent a copy of it back. And right there it says 28 May 91. Thanks. We agree. This is a stamp and then the signature. Your input will be included in the next update of this manual. I got this thing. And here it comes. I'm sitting there laughing at the desk with people showing them this. And here comes Captain Gavlin. I think that means eagle in Spanish. He comes walking in. I said, and somebody said, attention, Will. And he comes walking by and he looked like he was in a bad mood. Not used to seeing him in a bad mood, but he looked like he was in a bad mood. And I said, hey, sir. I said, you want to see this? Because it was about him. He's the one there in the motor pool that day when I was doing things backwards. Transmission fluid and the surge tank for the coolant. I was doing the coolant number 10 first and then number 9. And he'd said, I have to follow by the numbers. And I was like, one day I'm going to show you. That's what I said that day. And then sitting in the desert with all kinds of time to write. No beer, didn't smoke. I wrote this letter. And so he comes in and I said, hey, sir, I said, you want to see something? And he's walking by me and he says, nah. And I said, that's not Elderquist to you, sir. And he looks at me and he says, Elderquist, outside. And so I went and I stood on the porch on the steps at attention while he sat there and railed at me about insubordination and things like that. I could tell he was in a bad mood. And I said, okay, yes, sir. And he said, you can wipe that grin off your face too. I said, yes, sir. And I tried really hard, but it kept twitching. It might have been a nervous reaction. I was getting it handed to me. And I said, well, would you like to see this, sir? And he said, yeah. And he took it and he read the thing. And I know he could see himself in it. And he said, yeah. Handed it back and he went inside. You see what that means? That means the whole time that they had me, it's a prison mentality. I was in the yard getting fit, but they never got my mind. Came out strong. The whole time the military was trying to change me. I changed the whole damn deal. They put it into the appendix to the next manual. That's what's missing. It was in there, I know. They put it in the appendix to the next thing because I said something was wrong. And that's nothing to say anything about me. That's about every one of us. I once got people to clear the garbage cans off the road through a secretly scathing and ignorant email to the damn city. Get your fucking garbage cans off the road. Middle of winter, we can't even get down this alley and people are running shit over constantly. It only worked for a week, but it gave me a sense, you know, I'm a real person. You see these people, Cheswick? These are people. These are really real people. And that's what I say. Sometimes I'd say about the angry shipping lady. When people would talk about her, I say, I like to pretend that I'm not the only person in the world.